expressions in descending order. Right, hello there. We are moving on to a new section now called removal of brackets. What this simply means is that we are going to be multiplying. Let's give you an example. If I give you an example like this, 5 into 2 plus 3. Then you will tell me, well, there's the 5 and inside the bracket here we got 5. So the final answer is 25. So you're actually using ruler board maths. 2 plus 3, 5. Then 5 times 5, 25. Now let us suppose I told you, don't do it like that, but do it a little differently. And I told you, look, take the question and do it like this. Take 5 and multiply 2. So it will be 5 times 2. Plus, I said, then take 5 and multiply that. 5 times 3. Then you'll end up 5 times 2, 10. 5 times 3, 15. And the answer is 25. So if I make you do an example like this, you're still getting the same answer, 25. And the answer there you got was also 25. So whatever I'm making you do here is correct. Now this in maths we called the distributive law. We call this the distributive law. So when we say remove brackets, you see, you have to multiply. Removal of bracket means multiply. When I multiplied, the brackets have disappeared. The brackets have been removed. And we got the final answer. And the law that we are applying here is called the distributive law. Now, let's take another example. If I gave you 5 into 2 plus a, then you will tell me, well, I've got to multiply that according to the distributive law, and I've got to multiply there. So it will be 5 times 2 plus 5 times a. Now 5 times 2 gives you 10 plus 5 times a gives you 5a. Now you remember earlier on, and that 2 now is, these two now are unlike terms because this one has got a power in a and this one does not have a power in a. So they are unlike terms and you stop here, you don't add them up. So that is why earlier on we have been learning about like terms and unlike terms, etc. Now let's take another example. A into 2 plus a. Now you'll have to multiply. A times 2 is 2a. Alright, let's just do it step by step. That's 2 times a. I can write a times 2 or 2 times a. And then I've got to multiply a times a. Now 2 times a is 2a. Now here I've got a times a. Remember we studied powers. A and a are two different powers, right? Now if you are multiplying these and these are powers, do you remember the multiplication rule? Write down the base once and add the indices. So the answer is now a squared. Let's do another example. M into m plus n. So it will be m times m and m times n. So it's m times m plus m times n. Now, these two are powers. The bases are exactly the same. Write down the base ones. Add the indices. Can you see that the rules we have learnt earlier on, we are now using? Plus. Now here the bases are different. So I cannot add the indices because the bases are different. So m times n, you just write mn next to it. If you remember, we told you that the multiplication sign is understood. So that basically is removal of brackets. And when we're removing brackets, we use what is called the distributive law. Now let's do another example, and we're going to make it a little more challenging, because now we're going to bring integers into it. And that is why we have learnt all these things earlier on. Now minus 2 times x, you see, minus 2 times this, and minus 2 times that. Minus 2 times x, and minus 2 times minus 3. Minus 2 times minus 3. Now minus 2 times x will give you minus 2x. Now minus 2 times minus 2, remember the integer rules we learned earlier on, gives you plus. Minus times minus gives you plus. 2 times 3 is 6. So that's your final answer. These are obviously unlike terms and cannot be added. So that's the basics of removal of brackets, and we're going to give you a little exercise now, and you're going to try some examples.